Donk. That's a name that you might have been hearing a lot in the CS2 community recently, and it's not for no reason, because recently this kid has been absolutely tearing apart the tier 1 scene in Counter-Strike 2, and he's only 17 years old. And as a matter of fact, this is actually the first ever tier 1 LAN event that he's played, and not only did he impress, he absolutely dominated and set a record of a 1.7 rating across the entire event, which has quite literally never been seen before. So I want to hop into a map from the grand finals versus Faze and see how he managed to tear them apart on Nuke, and we're gonna hop right into it right after a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a site where you can trade skins that you already have to get some skins that you might want. That way you can hop into your next game with some fresh new skins. All you have to do is log into the site through Steam, put in the skins that you don't want anymore, grab the skins that you do, and then click trade. Trades happen almost immediately, and any balance that you don't use in the trade will roll over for a trade that you might do in the future. Right now you can get a free $5 if you were to use code Austin on the site, and if you were to use my code you would get an additional 5% on top of the 30% deposit bonus. So let's say if you deposit $100, that means you would get $135 if you use my code to deposit. So make sure you guys check out SkinsMonkey, and let's get right back into the video. So we're gonna hop right into it now. Here we are. It is CT side of Nuke. Now this was actually the first map of the grand finals, and they get to start on CT side, and of course Nuke is a CT sided map, so things are looking good already. And what we're gonna see here is Donk is our outside player. So we have a lot of experience of watching outside demos on this channel. We used to watch rain demos, we used to watch some electronic demos back in the day, and now we get to watch Donk. He does things a little bit differently though, because Donk is a very aggressive player, and we're gonna start off here and you're gonna see exactly what I mean. He pushes right into the door here to catch out Robs rather, and then he continues peeking to catch BROKE. Now, I'm going to tell you something that you're going to hear a lot this demo review, which is that Donk is a very aggressive player, and he loves to peek. But that doesn't mean that he's an over peeker, and it doesn't mean that he just abuses peeker's advantage, because on LAN, peeker's advantage doesn't actually exist that much. What I mean is that Donk is a player who likes to decide when the fight is going to happen. You'll very rarely find him holding an angle, and instead you're going to see a lot of times Donk is going to be holding an angle and then unpeaking and repeaking. That way if somebody were to peek into him, he will have an advantage by deciding when the fight's going to happen. Because if you hold an angle, the person that peeks into you is the one that's ready for you most of the time, because they're going to be pre-aiming you. Whereas if you consistently are the one peeking slash unpeaking, you're going to be ready, like mentally, to take the kill. And you'll see that a lot in this game, that Donk is going to be peeking a lot, and that's just how he plays the game. But he's really good at it, and his crosshair placement is also pretty insane. Like, I've covered a lot of players on this channel who have insane crosshair placement. We've done Bit, we've done Rops, but Donk is a little bit different because he's quite literally always aiming in the right spot. Kind of hard to explain, but this was an eco. It's a 3K, not too impressive, but he's already up to 5 on the second round of the grand finals. Now, as the outside player, Donk is going to start most of the rounds, if not all of them, with this Molotov that he just threw. Now, the point of that Molotov, of course, is to deny the early back red cross. I've accidentally tapped out while trying to pause. Sorry about that. The molly lands right here, and if anybody wants to cross back red, which is under all these smokes, very unfortunate that you can't see this, they are going to have to take a little bit of molly damage, and as you can see, Rain did eat that molly. Very standard stuff. Now, the outside smokes have been thrown, the standard cross ones, the ones that actually are on the map, and with that, we're going to flash above garage, and what we want to do is we want to clear in front of the glaive smoke. So what's happening here is, of course, I'm going to go ahead and go into free cam. He is going to want to clear in front, because it's very common for players to walk up on the left side of the smoke and try to catch a gap on some players who are spamming these smokes. For example, if somebody's spamming from mini, they can sometimes kill them while they're spamming. They can also hold for people who are not suspecting a garage player, but most importantly, it's just nice to know that this area is clear so that they can't sneak mini on you, they can't, catch you off guard, and that's just one thing that the outside player likes to do. The other thing that they like to do is they like to nade the smokes now, which will rewind it while I was slow mode, and you'll see here he's gonna go ahead and flash above. He's gonna clear this out. It's clear. He's spamming the right side of the smoke for that lurk that we just talked about, and now this is new to CS2. Nading the outside smokes is very important in this game now, because of course getting to secret requires smoke cover, and you can now nade the smokes. So on random timings throughout the game, the outside player will nade these smokes that are up so that they can reveal the location of the enemies, and this is going to happen a lot in this game. We'll talk about it a couple of times here and there, but for the most part, this is standard play. Looking around, spamming around, doesn't see anything, and because of that, he's going to rotate. He knows that they can be down secret. The ramp player is probably going to go down to B, or an A player will go down the vent. That's standard rotations. So because of that, he's going to fill. And if it wasn't him, it would be Shiro. But Shiro is currently occupied on the left side of garage. So because Shiro is here, he can tell Donk to leave because they can't go mini, they cannot go CT without them crossing Shiro. So he lets Donk rotate. So Donk decides to rotate to heaven, but then he realizes that it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to be in heaven because, well, we know that they're down secret. We know they are because they made noise. There's at least somebody down secret. It doesn't make sense to be A. Why do we need to be here? If anything, we need to be ramp so that we can go down to B. If not, rotating to B right now is a good play. That's what he's thinking, so he's going to rotate to ramp. In the meantime, Zontix is actually going to get contact from Kerrigan here, and a swift trade from Rops, the GOAT lobby lurk, by the way, which I will talk about a little bit here. Rops, we already covered one time on the channel. Top right of your screen, you can watch the Rops demo review. He's an insane lobby lurk, and I'm not even trying to glaze him, but seriously, he is absolutely insane at what he does. And if you want to learn how to lurk like Rops, you can check that review out. Now, Rops has a really good round here, and he's able to counter the donk effect, even though this round is very convincing for Faze. I mean, look, they're on the lower site. They've completely cleared it. The bomb is down. This round is really hard, but there's something that donk does in this game, which again I will just refer to as the donk effect going forward. And you might be wondering, Austin, what exactly is the donk effect? Well, what it is it's the ability to take an unwinnable round and make it winnable. So they're sat behind the ramp smoke spamming away. It's hopeless. They're stuck behind the door. What are they going to do? Well, what you do is you just rely on the firepower of Donk. He's going to step through the right side of the smoke, and he's just gonna kill two. Look, nobody that you know can just walk out of the ramp smoke and kill two people on the retake. That's almost unheard of. Sure, in this round it doesn't look that impressive, but for the rest of the game, I want you to keep saying it's not that impressive, because if he does it every round, it's starting to look like it could be, you know, not lucky. So he has the donk effect to take an unwinnable round and make it winnable. And not only is it winnable, they do win because Rain's gonna get traded out. And where is Rops? Well, Rops is doing the Rops. He's a lobby lurk. He's in lobby. His entire goal is to lurk so that he can win these late round scenarios. And luckily for Faze, this time he pulls through with a spectacular 1v2. Again, I mean, this is something that only Rops can really get away with. He will pull it back, but it was a lost cause. I mean, look, they lose everything. Like, even though Faze won the round, look at their money. I mean, they have nothing, like 4K. Like, this is miserable going into the round. Some of these players have $3,000 in this round. That's miserable. But again, that's just the donk effect. Faze, realistically, if they were playing any other team in the world, they would probably just cleanly win that post plant. Rops would clean it up probably, and that would just be it. They'd be 2-1 still, but they'd be a lot more comfortable. But there's just something about this kid who, I can't even explain it. He just always knows what he's doing. And speaking of always knowing, let me show you this round. So this is a round that a lot of outside players are going to be familiar with. It's a round where they throw the outside smokes and you're in mini. So what would you do as the mini player? Well, I just showed you and told you in the round before what you might do. You might spam the outside smokes from mini. And that was the entire purpose of clearing this glaive area out before. Well, this time, he is going to be spamming. Zontix is going to be making sure that nobody does the lurk on him. So he's going to spam the smokes. And not only does he just spam, he insta-kills Rain. That's just unfortunate. I mean, Rain didn't even have a chance. Rain didn't even make a mistake. No, like, what mistake was made? Well, there wasn't any. Sometimes it happens, right? Well, you know what doesn't happen? What doesn't happen is the second time that somebody tries to cross, you don't get insta-killed by the same person in the middle of the open. I mean, like, realistically, okay? This round, I was watching an old CSGO Overwatch game, and I thought somebody was wall hacking, and I saw somebody do this, I would just call him a cheater. Even with the ability to see X-ray and know that I'm watching pros, I still go, bro, how did he do that? Like, I've been playing for quite some time, 5 years now, at a pretty high level myself in North America, which doesn't really mean anything, but it does mean that I know what I'm talking about when I say this is not normal. I have watched so many demos of outside players in the past, and I've never seen anyone do it quite like this. 2 instant kills. Very impressive. I think Donk has the ability to see people through walls. And I'm not joking. I think he genuinely has an embodied Counter-Strike to a point where he knows every timing for everything. And I don't even know how to explain it. He's 17 years old. I mean, he can only get better. So that's the scary thing. Either way, RIP Frozen, RIP Rain. No mistakes made this round for Faze. There was no mistakes made this round. So what do you do? Well, anyway, we'll let the rest of the round play out. Donk is going to go ahead and just kind of, you know, walk around, spam the smokes, just buying some time, making sure that there's no funny business. He's going to walk back and get boosted into heaven, and we've, you know, seen this before. So he just jumps up to Tetris, gets boosted heaven, and now he's going to rotate back over, which is actually kind of clever. Let me show you the boost for those of you guys who are watching that don't know. The top hut player can actually boost a player up to heaven. It's the only way to get back up. And because of this rotation, he's actually able to be in the perfect spot for the attempt to win the round here. So Faze regroup outside. They still try to salvage this. They regroup outside, and they know Donk was mini because he spammed the players, except all of a sudden Donk is Zaiwu and he's killing 2 more. Wait, okay, so let me rewind. From Faze's perspective, okay, the mini map is completely broken. They just saw Donk mini. He killed 2 players. So when they swing here, the last thing that they're expecting is to see Donk, not, I mean, it could have been or the ramp player, but to see Donk, like Zaiwu, like the level of play here is insane, but also the individual like level is it's just insane. I don't even have the word. Like, I'm actually fumbling over my words because genuinely like these plays don't make any sense, and we're only on round 4. Now we're going into round 5. Let's have a look. So round 5, what do we have? We have Donk yet again outside. Starts with that molly I talked about. The nade. What's the nade for? Well, what we just talked about. Sometimes people run through that molly. It's a default molly, which means you throw it every round. That's what default means. You throw it by default. Bink, molly comes through. What happens? People run through the molly to catch the timing. So what does Donk do? He nades it. Oh, so the next time Rain tries any funny business, he would get donked, right? Well, luckily Rain didn't decide to go that way this time, and they are on a full eco. Now these rounds don't seem that exciting normally, but when you watch Donk, there's just something about it. Like, I don't know, like, yes, normally I would just skip a full eco, but for some reason I just feel like we should watch this one. So he's spotting outside confidently, okay? Now I've seen this particular round many times. A ramp eco rush. What happens? Well, the person J-Hall fights so that the ramp person can go down to B so he doesn't die. What is the win condition for the T's? In all Glocks, the win condition is they kill the J-Hall player and then they're able to get to heaven. That's their win condition most of the time. But for some reason, I've seen this round get out of hand many a times. Whenever I watch the players play, let's see what it would look like from Shiro's perspective. Now, keep in mind, Shiro is one of the best players in the world in his own right. Like, he's an opera, right? He's gonna peek out ramp here. He's gonna get a sloppy, well, not a sloppy, a first kill, and then a sloppy spray on the second guy. Now this is literally one of the top 10 players in the world we're looking at. That's how you do it. And I don't see anything wrong here. But then when Donk does it, Donk walks in, bop, bop, bop. This is laser beam. Now, again, it is versus a full eco, and I don't mean to overhype it, but these things are not normal in CS. It might not look that impressive on a 1-round basis, but I'm telling you, he's been doing this the entire event that I am Katowice. He did it every single game, every single round. He looks like the best player in the world. And quite frankly, who's to say he's not? I mean, to post numbers like he's been posting, like, this is outrageous. I mean, seriously, you just don't see this. So we'll get into this round. Round 6 starts with the default molly. Glaive's smoke is thrown. Now, what do we have coming into mini? Now, you might be confused on this start. Okay, let me kind of break it down for you. We'll go into 0.4 speed so I can actually move. So Shiro hasn't been opping this so far this game. So normally the opper would play towards heaven, he would play towards garage this side, or he would start ramp, maybe he would start heaven to hold A, right? These are very normal opper starts, right? But Shiro is starting back garage every round and holding this. And now because of that, this line is always permanently held, which means that they can always go down secret. Theoretically, no matter what Donk does, they should always be able to go down secret. The outside smokes, there's nobody contesting this except for Donk. Which means that Donk is allowed to go wherever he wants as long as he communicates that they can go down secret, which they will always be able to, right? With the smokes, of course. But they can't get wrapped. That's why Shiro keeps doing this. That's why Zontix did it the round that Shiro didn't do it, is because they cannot get A split. They cannot get A split this way. Nothing can happen. right? It's a very safe way to play. It's been meta for a long time. They have somebody back garage. Now, the reason I'm highlighting that is because this is a very important understanding that this spot is allowing Donk to play the spots that he is playing. It allows him to rotate to ramp that one round to have the donk effect. It allows him to rotate and get boosted up heaven to come back around because somebody is always making sure that they cannot go this way. And Spirit has a pretty good understanding that they can go down secret and it doesn't matter because the ramp player will rotate down, or maybe even Donk himself will rotate down the vent. So it's always just an understanding, and it's okay to play like that, to leave that gap. It's okay to play like that because the team is playing around it. If you're trying this in your pugs, you're probably trolling because the entire team doesn't understand what's going on. But Spirit, they get it. So just to explain why Donk is allowed to do what he does, that's kind of the way it works. So here we have this round. This is a round. Faze get a man advantage. Donk's gun is gone. Yes, I don't know what happened to Donk's gun. It's stuck to his back in the demo. Great. Donk's gun. Okay, there it is. So let me paint the picture of the round. Faze has a man advantage. What happened? Rop's got a kill as a lobby lurk, and now it's a 4 versus 5. Now, so this round was different. Faze threw this lurk smoke that we're seeing here on the screen. What this lurk smoke does is it actually counters the counter that we were just talking about. Let me rewind it a little bit. Put it in 0.4 speed. The CS2 demo viewer is criminally bad, and this glaive smoke allows the CTs to go to back red and, you know, exist here. So Faze's counter is to smoke the lurk smoke off that we're seeing on our left, or on our right rather, so that they can creep up and clear this out, and then they can throw outside smokes, because it's just kind of how it works. That's what they do. As you saw the utility, they naded the glaive smoke back so that the guy Silo could see if there was anybody here. Pretty good team play if you ask me. But what you did just hear is you did just hear two people shoot at once, which is normal for Faze, but what isn't normal is the lack of pressure in lobby. Now, Rop's walking in and taking a fight on somebody is actually pretty indicative of there being only one person lobby, because typically if you're in a lobby setup, you're not going to be doing that. If you're by yourself, you want to put some pressure as if there's more than one person there. It's kind of just the mental games that go on in tier 1. So something tells Donk that there's heavy outside pressure because of the smokes and the utility that they've thrown. So what Donk does is he realizes what's going on, and he's going to rotate. He needs to rotate. It's a 4 versus 5. There's only one person on A site, one person ramp, and you don't have to be that great at CS to know that if 5 people on Faze go out one person on Spirit, it's probably going to be a Faze victory. So Donk knows that because it's an outside default, he needs to rotate, but before he does, he's going to drop this nade on Silo. Unfortunately, Frozen was anticipating that. Won't be ticked. He's on the left side. Now, he knows that they still want to progress outside, so he's going to throw this Molotov to buy Shiro some time back garage to breathe, and maybe even force them to try to split mini where Shiro would be activated, because instead of trying to go down secret from red, they might walk in front here and try to go mini. Now, I know the mini map is bugged, but Shiro has this line like we've talked about, which means this molly is actually really good to help his teammate get activated. So before the lurk smoke fades, Donk wants to get out of here, and where is Donk going to rotate? Well, he could go anywhere. Realistically, Donk doubling up with anybody here is a good play, and he's going to start by going ramp. And he would stay ramp if it weren't for the fact that Shiro is going to get smoked outside. And off of those smokes, he's actually going to nade the outside smokes, and he's going to spot out Rain and actually kill him. Now, this is going to be a little bit dank, but let me explain what this means. So, Faze are notorious for having Rain be their outside player, and Spirit knows that. What does that mean, though? What that means is that if there's outside pressure, no matter what it is, Rain will always be outside. If there's one person outside, it's Rain. If there's 4 people outside, Rain will be there too. But the point is that if you kill somebody and that person is Rain, most likely that might be the only person there, is what I'm trying to get at. And they know that. And because they killed Rain, which is the dedicated outside guy, Donk realizes, wait a minute. You just killed Rain. You know, he's going to come here and double up. He's like, they could still be outside. Shiro's falling away. I don't think he's that convinced. He's like, you know, actually, they're not throwing anything else outside. No mollies, no flashes. Like, to be honest, they're regrouping somewhere else. Now, they know that the utility starts coming in for A, and Donk is going to be able to rotate up before the exec comes in. And this is something that we talked about before. When he gets up here, what would Donk do? What does Donk do? The exec's in, they're already out holding heaven. And he knows that. They're outdoor. Chopper is probably calling that. What would you do in this situation? Would you peek? Probably not. It's a lost cause. You might start peeking when your teammate starts shooting. Maybe you have a chance. I mean, there's like realistically no real way back in. I mean, you're locked out unless your name is Donk, in which case you're just going to go ahead and peek anyway, get one, peek again, and get another. And it's just another example of the Donk effect. I mean, seriously, like, how does anybody get away with this? I mean, sure, a lot of players in the tier 1 scene and maybe even in the tier 2 scene can step out heaven and get 2 kills, but let's remember who Donk is playing. He's playing Faze, like the best team in the world, literally. Like, he's just stepping out and killing 2. BROKE was holding him and he still got out and just killed, like, 2? He got 2 and not, like, sure, maybe if he steps out and he gets 1, I could understand that, but he gets 2. That's how it always is. More of the Donk effect. Now, Frozen won't be winning that clutch, and that will force Faze to be in an interesting situation. So we'll get on to round 7 here. The Donk effect is in full effect. They drop him the AK, which is, I mean, kind of funny. You don't really see this a lot. The pros are actually dropping their best player at the AK, which gives him an advantage. Round starts, he throws his molly, and gets dropped another molly. This has been something that's been happening all game, except this time, Shiro is actually not with him outside. So because of that, Donk is going to, you know, of course, respect that, and he can't just run around. So the outside smoke comes in, just one of them, by the way, which is also weird, maybe CS2 meta, some more stuff to be discovered, and he's going to molly secret. And the reason is, of course, he wants to make sure that, since there's a lot of timings here, he needs to make sure that he is confident when he tells his team they cannot be down secret. Because there's a lot of communication on Nuke, and there's a lot of timings to be caught. Now, he could just sit there and hold that and make sure that nobody goes secret. Or he could just say, well, there's only one smoke. They're probably not going to cross because somebody could be watching him from heaven. There isn't anybody there, but there could be. And Rain is not just going to walk out and cross, probably. So he could just say they're probably not down secret, or he can molly and say they're definitely not down secret, and it allows him to reposition into a better spot to get more info. And now that the Molotov is fading, he can come back and check, okay, now I know there's nobody down secret. I also know there's nobody close mini, which means actually outside might be clear. And then all of a sudden, he's gonna, you know, break the smoke, looks for that rain lurk. What he's looking for is somebody to be creeping behind that smoke, getting ready to go down. It's not there. Now he's pretty confident here off of all of that information that there's nobody outside. The ramp hit comes in. Zontix is going ramp, ramp, ramp. So Donk's like, well, outside's clear. Seems like it makes sense to me. He's still aware of the possibility of rain, and the rain's gonna peek out, catch him lacking. Now, this doesn't happen a lot to Donk, but this was a really smart play from Rain, and I have to respect it because it does result in a round win, which is great. We got a great round win from Faze. It's an eco. They played it really well. The ramp pop was spectacular, and it actually outplayed Donk, which is really hard to do. So it's a good round from Faze. Donk didn't even really do anything wrong. Everything that he did was actually really smart. What he broke the smoke, he mollied, everything that he did made sense up until the last part where he tries to rotate to his team and he gets caught off. That's always going to happen. It is Counter-Strike after all. You know, you can't be perfect all the time. And even though he was pretty much perfect, I mean, there's still some things that are just out of your control. What do we have this round, though? In this round, Donk is going to start lower. Now, as the outside player, you have the luxury of starting the round in secret. And when you do that, most of the time it's because your opper is outside spotting for you. And whenever the outside smokes come in, your opper will either flash you to peek from top stairs if you had the time, or he's just going to say, it's whatever, I don't really care. They're, you know, they can go down secret, Donk is there, and it lets your opper be a little bit more, you know, committed towards A. He doesn't have to rotate ramp because the ramp player doesn't have to go down because Donk is already there. So he can stay towards heaven, make sure that they don't go into garage. He can hold this line, he can help towards A, and he can also make sure that they don't split towards mini. He can do a lot of things, the opper can, if Donk starts lower, and that's the entire point. Showing a different look. Let's go see the man himself. He comes down here, and it's just standard stuff. The outside smokes are up, and because of that, there's no information. So he can't come up the stairs like he wants to, so he's going to be forced to play a little bit more passive. Now, I did say at the beginning of the video that Donk is is an aggressive player, but there is sometimes where he does know his limits, and he's not just going to force something, because still, if he would walk up secret, that's the wrong play. Even though it might work for him and there isn't anybody there right now, it would still be the wrong play, and he's respectful of that. But what do we have? You know, we have the nade. He's, you know, saying they could be down and nades it. He's gonna flash it like he could be pushing. Now, this is all just standard stuff. But then, what isn't standard is the re-smokes for outside. Now, this is not actually something that we were expecting. The re-smokes for outside are, let's go look at them, you know, in, which means now that it's very likely that they're committing outside. That's the fourth. These are 4 smokes outside, so they're probably coming down. And Donk is aware of that. So he wants to get into a different spot. He's also smoked off lower in the meantime to kind of buy time. What's the point though? You see a lot of pros doing this, and some people might not understand. Why would I smoke off secret, right? You know, am I stopping them? Sure, you are. But the point isn't just to stop them. It's also to buy time for your other players to get in good spots or to get information. Now, I'll spoil a little bit. And because Shiro has the wrap, it lets the A setup be really good. They're pretty confident nobody's coming. Ramp is on lock. They really kind of just have to be... It has to be B. And who else is better to hold this hit except for Donk? So he's going to do this really nifty jump spot, which you might not have ever seen before. But basically, if the door is gone or open, you can jump spot here. And from the other team's perspective, let me go look at Rain when he peeks him here. He's going to see a pixel of Donk right here. Donk's going to get that info. That's not, you can't kill that. Like, you know, Rain's good, but he's not fast enough to hit that. Nobody is. He's going to close the door, and he just gets the information for free. He gets to get all the information that they're down secret, close the door, jump up, and now he has an angle which favors him. I mean, he can see their feet before they can see him at all. So he's going to get the one, maybe a little overzealous to step, like, you know, out to try to kill him because he's going to get traded because of that. Still though, like, look at this. Because of what we talked about before, even though Donk dies, I mean, like, oh no, Donk only got 1 instead of 2 this time. Look at what happened. In the meantime, because Donk was able to play for that info, the ramp player had time to rotate down to double B. Now, I don't know about you, but it doesn't matter who you are. You're not expecting Zontix to be here. So, I mean, it doesn't really surprise you, does it, that he's going to win the round for them. And this is, again, just Donk being really solid. And, you know, people might think that Donk is a player who's holding W or who's playing overly aggressive and he's just taking aim duels. But this round kind of shows you that that's not actually the case. And he's always really good in terms of like a team perspective. He's always making the right choices to help the team. He's actually not even overextending. He's just getting all the kills that he should get and then more because he's really talented. And that's just allowing Spirit to make Faze look like clowns sometimes. I mean, realistically, if you're new to CS and you see this, you're thinking, oh my god, Faze is so bad. How would they not expect a double person on top of the rafters at the last second of the round? Why would they ever not expect that? But from a competitor's perspective, this is outplayed. Like, nobody would expect this. Like, I already showed you the entire round and how it led to this. How was Faze supposed to outplay that? It's very difficult. That's why this map is CT sided sometimes, because realistically, Faze didn't make a lot of mistakes this round. I mean, they made a few, but nothing major that should lead to this. I mean, this is just pure outplay, and that's the end of the round. Now, I don't mean to just overanalyze a single round, because it doesn't even matter, because Faze still win it. Faze still win it. Because that's how good Faze is. That's why Counter-Strike is fun to watch. There's nothing that you can do that guarantees a round win, which is why it's so fun to watch CS, and that's why we all do this. We'll get back to it now. So basically, this is just another gun round, probably one of the more important rounds in the game, and you'll notice that this time Donk doesn't have enough money for the normal usually he wants to throw, so he's gonna go ahead and throw just the glaze smoke. Now, some people who are watching are probably like, wait, he's not looking. They can cross secret. There's nobody looking on the radar. Look, nobody's looking. He could just go down secret. Well, remember, we're watching Tier 1 Counter-Strike, and it doesn't matter if they go down secret. There's already somebody here, and it's going to be Zontix. Now, Zontix is the ramp player, which would mean that normally Shiro would probably be starting his op there. They're actually not doing that. And Donk's going to just be, you know, fighting outside as per usual. Rain's going to catch him with his peek above the box, and, well, you got to give credit to Rain where it's due. He is one of the best players at his job here, and well, he'll take Donk down, and that's just, you know, sometimes it's just the difference. He catches him off, and that's going to be the end of Donk. I'm going to go ahead and skip the rest of the round because this is just a Donk review, not an actual game review. We've done one of those before. It was the Liquid versus M80 game. If you want to check that game out, you can. It is linked in the top right as well. That was an entire team review, not just a player review, and you might be looking for something like that. You can find it there. Here we have another round. This is round 11. Now remember, this is high stakes. You might have forgotten the farther we get into this game, the stakes are really high. This is the grand finals of IEM Katowice. They're playing on stage. There is probably close to 1 million people watching live, and there's thousands and thousands of people in the stadium in front of him at his computer. Every time he looks up, he sees thousands of people. Now, he's 17 years old, and it's the first time he's ever done this. Let's not forget the stakes here. So, starts the round off by throwing off his utility. He nades this cross smoke, trying to catch a cheeky play. Nothing. Nade comes in a little bit early there, to be honest, but no big deal. And, well, we're just going to go ahead and back up. Why is the reason they're backing up? Well, the A exec is coming in. You know, you can't really see it always. It looks silly, but yes, they're execing A, so he's just going to rotate right away up through heaven. Now, you might be curious, why wouldn't you go through mini? Well, because if you go rotate through mini, most of the time you're just going to be smoked off because everybody smokes mini. People don't smoke heaven that much, so it's easier. Now, we talked about this before. When donk gets heaven, what does he do? You know, most people are going to sit here and wait, but donk, not so much. He's going to smoke this molly, and on the tap here, he's getting ready, waiting. There it is, the distraction. Chopper gets the kill, and he's ready. He's on his keyboard any second now. As soon as he hears somebody plant that bomb again, he's going to run right through the smoke. He just knows, there it is, another distraction, runs through. Here it is, the donk effect. He waited so long, reveals it. Look at this, screenshot. Donk, Rain, Rops looking at him 1 versus 3. But it's donk, of course, and he gets the first, and he gets the second to transfer immediately, and he knows the last person planted the bomb. He looks to his right, snaps, perfect spot for Frozen. He has 6 bullets left in his M4. He knows this is his round, and the smoke spreads in front of his face. There's no telling if he would have won it or not. There really isn't, but the donk effect is a real thing. The donk effect, making rounds that aren't winnable look winnable, or just outright winnable. That's insane that the smoke actually saved Frozen's life. I don't even think that donk backed up. I think that the smoke just went in front of his face because they move like that. Very unfortunate for donk, and a great try. I mean, seriously, like, what is there to say? This kid he's insane. I mean, like, genuinely, he's insane. He ran through a smoke, got 2 kills, and almost won a 1v3 in the biggest stage in the world. I would be shitting my pants if it was me on the stage in front of that many people. But no, this kid does not care. Realistically, he's probably one of the best players at his age of all time. That goes without saying. I think that just goes without saying. People would get upset if I said he's the best of all time. But for his age, that's this of all time 17-year-olds, he's undoubtedly the GOAT. Anyway, so starts around with the normal utility. It gets himself into this mini position. This is a really common spot because, well, he doesn't need to watch outside because somebody's watching for him. And if they come in A, he's in a really good spot to help them. Now, this spot is also really good at dealing with a specific thing that Faze like to do, which is to wrap through mini. Now, remember, this entire game, there's been somebody back garage to deny the mini wrap. It doesn't mean that they forgot that it's possible because there's nobody there, but instead, donk is in a spot to deal with the mini wrap. Look, he's ready for it if somebody walks in, he's holding it. Now, historically, for those of you guys that don't watch a lot of Counter-Strike, Faze has a strat that they like to do, which a lot of teams like to do, but Faze is really known for it, which is an A hit where somebody sneaks in through mini. Now, this strat has been called many, many times. Kerrigan loves it on this map, and, well, they're going to call it again. So what happens? They throw the top mini smoke, and they throw a couple of things that would pressure outside. And remember what I said earlier, which is that normally the person that's outside is Rain. Again, Rain is the only person that was outside this round, which is why they were able to make that rotation earlier. Now, I don't know if donk was prepared for this off of spawn. Hard to say. But this A split comes in where Rain comes through, mini, doesn't see donk, and he's going to get the kill. Now, what is the point of the A split with a person coming through mini? Because realistically, if you're looking at what just happened to Rain, you might think it's kind of silly. Somebody runs through a smoke onto a mini guy. Like, what's the point? The point is that this utility that's getting thrown at A should be enough to distract people to look towards HUD and door, to where this guy has a good timing to kill somebody on top of HUD or close door, or maybe even a guy mini that's trying to help them. Unfortunately, donk is too smart, and he just catches Rain on this play, and it all falls apart shortly after that. Even though Rain does die, though, they still get decent space here. They actually are even able to catch donk and get in a pretty favorable spot. It was a 3 versus 2, but unfortunately, you can't always win them. And even though Rops is very talented, I just don't think he can get this 4K. Actually, I know he can't. I'll just tell you right now. it's not going to happen. So that's a pretty good half, all things considered, for the man himself, Donk. 20 kills in 12 rounds on the biggest stage in his career. Yeah, this kid is insane. There's not really much else to say. I mean, genuinely, the kid is just insane. I mean, like, I don't know. I can't wait to see him at his next event. I mean, hopefully in the RMR he plays good. Hopefully they make the major. I hope he can keep playing on stage because he's a very exciting player to watch. Now, let's get into it. It's T-side. Mr. Donk is going to be, of course, running out the ramp. Now, you might notice that it's maybe unexpected that Donk is going to be entering, because if you had somebody like Donk on your team, you probably wouldn't want him to entry, right? Because what if he dies? Then your main win condition's just gone. Well, I don't know. But he comes out ramp and he's very confident. He jump spots around the corner looking for anybody he can find, and will end up discovering here the Zeus is in. He actually gets shot by Kerrigan here. But even though it's, you know, looking bad, Rops and Kerrigan, yeah, they're both trying to fight him. It is Donk after all, and look at that. He gets a quick kill on the Rops, immediately steps out here. Kerrigan, no chance at all. Like, we'll actually just watch this fight from Kerrigan's perspective. Let's see what he gets. Let's see what kind of chance does he have here against Donk. Well, not much at all. So, I mean, so far, Rob's got 2, no mistakes, and Kerrigan, well, no mistakes, but got none. And the round is not looking great. 2 versus 2. We got Donk alive. Frozen pushing in through Squeaky. It's spotted. Donk knows he has a little bit of a timing, running out of the door. You know, of course, we know Frozen's in Squeaky. We just shot, getting the bomb down, and you know, 1 versus 2. Something about Donk makes me feel like this is always going to be winnable. Spotting him out. But it doesn't actually matter how good a player is, because as long as the team play is good, you will always be able to shut him down. Now, it's been a topic of discussion for quite some time if Donk is going to be too good and if he's just going to decimate for the rest of time. And to that I would say, well, I hope so, but I don't think that that's the case, because it doesn't matter how good an individual is. There's been many individuals over time, and none of them, Simple, Zaiwu, Nico included, and I guess actually Monosia, now that I'm thinking about it, none of them have been too good. They've all had their era, and they've all been countered by one singular thing, even if they are better individually than everybody else in the server. And that's team play. All this is to say that team play will always counter this. It will always counter really good individuals. Why do I bring this up? Why do I go on this side tangent? I don't think that Donk is so good that it's going to break the pro scene. What I think it is, though, is I think that Donk is to the point where Donk is doing something that is going to make teams have to practice harder so that they can always deal with individuals like him. What does that mean? It means better execs. It means better trading, better spacing, making sure that Donk can't multi-kill. And I think that in the future, we're going to see a lot of teams practicing to pretty much negate that playstyle so that there's no possible way for there to be these games where Donk is just, you know, getting 30 kills and outright winning the game. So you can kind of let me know what you think about that. Do you think Donk's going to run around and dominate for the rest of the time? Probably not, but, you know, I'm always interested to see kind of what the community thinks about things in the comments. I will be reading the comments, so you just let me know what you're thinking. Anyway, so what do we have? We have a normal T-side default. We have the lurk smoke throne for the T-side, the lurk smoke throne for the CT side, and they're just going to sit here. Now, we actually have a set fake coming in. It's a fake on A, which I've run variations of this on teams where you have people back red who are going to cross the secret with the A fake. All the attention is looking A, so that you have time to cross. The guy that was heaven is going to look here instead, or the guy that's mini is going to turn around, and it basically gives you a gap or a timing in order to cross the secret. Or, because of the fake, it actually gives you a timing to spot Rain isolated in the back of garage here. Now he's doing the same thing that Donk was doing earlier, but he gets caught. He spots, he spots 3 people at once. What happens? Chopper jumps around Mini. He's gonna smoke it off in the meantime. Also, Donk's gonna peek. Now, I talked about how good Donk's crosshair placement was, and it is really good. This is not an example of it being bad, but what it is an example of is even when he isn't aiming where the person is, it doesn't even matter. So you have somebody with the mechanics of Nico, with the crosshair placement of Rops, and the individual skill of, well, I guess Simple and Zywoo and Nico and Electronic and every good player who's come before him in one. That's really scary. That is really scary. Also, the strat is so good. They isolated Rain outside and they split him here. I've never seen anything like that before, but really good round so far from Spirit. I like the design of the strat. They're going to go ahead and rotate up. Chopper gets up to heaven. Donk's going to instead go towards CT. Now, he's not very, he's very smart, and he does know that the ramp player will sometimes rotate to cover and see if anyone's rapping outside. And since they never saw Brokey, which of course Brokey's their opper, and normally, if we remember, think back to when we watched Shiro play outside, he was either here or here. They never saw him. So that probably means that he's either ramp or he's an A, which he's an A. And because of that, Donk's going to take the timing into CT. He knows it's clear. He's going to wait for the person to push J. If that person never did push, then it's probably the opera here, or there's already somebody lower. A lot of things going on in his head here. He's going to catch off Rops, though. The long story short, he's going to catch Rops off. Well, kinda. Rops still gets the dink. If he had a better gun, he would just kill Donk, but he doesn't have it. Catches the dink, and they're going to reset the round here, and Donk's going to jump up, and, well, actually, he's just going to get timing. Kerrigan's going to peek out of Mini and catch him on a timing here. Very unfortunate. Not much he could do. His teammates are in the perfect spots to just not see this, and it's just, that's how timings work. He's going to die. Well, either way, he gets 2 in the round, and Spirit are going to be able to convert it. Fantastic. We love it. Donk is a fantastic player. Another round. Outside smokes are thrown. Donk's going to go in first. Now, again, he is that player. He's an aggressive player like Rain is outside in a cross. And now look at how he does this. You'll see. This is why I think Donk is really good. He doesn't start crossing as soon as the smokes go. Now, because that's the most common time to spam. So he waits at the back of red for a second before he starts crossing, and then he starts crossing while crouched, which is making him extra slow, but he's also becoming a smaller target, which makes him harder to hit. Now, the reason he's doing this is all intentional. You don't see a lot of players do this. Think about Rain and Frozen from the beginning of the game. They're walking across and Donk spams them. He's just very aware of the possibility of what can happen, and he knows he's playing against the Deagles that are spamming the smokes, and Deagles are going to be aiming at head height, which is why he's crouching. It's all calculated, and you might think that that's obvious when I tell you. Yeah, it is, but you wouldn't have did it. Not in the server anyway, but he's doing it in the most intense environment of his life. So, you know, just saying. Either way, they're going to get down secret as 4 here. Gonna throw the lower utility, all very standard. I'm speeding it up here. The exec's gonna come in. Faze not in position here. They are just on a force buy, and well, the round is going to just pretty much fall apart from there. Kerrigan's gonna get his. They got a really good setup, and well, actually, Faze, nobody dies this round. They all save. All 5 stay alive. That means nobody gets a kill this round on Spirit. Donk still has 25 kills though. The next guy on his team has 11. Remember, Donk gets 30 kills this game, and he doesn't even get a single kill on this round. There's not that many rounds left in the game. Doesn't even get a kill this round? That's kind of scary. All right, round number, what is this, 16? Round 16, we get a pause from the CTs. That's Faze, of course. We're just going to see more of the same. Outside pressure's in. My clock is broken. Great CS2 demo viewer. They're setting up for an A exec here. Kind of just, taking their time, getting ready to go. Donk's kind of just watching outside, and here comes the hit. They're coming in. The Molly Asian. These are all things that you can check out if you want to in a demo viewer that has the radar where you can steal some strats. Very good. I have a lot that I would recommend. You can check out Noasis or CS2 Lens. Both of those are not sponsored. Are very, very good to kind of get an overhead view to see all of the components that go into these strats. Donk just gets killed to the smoke. Not a lot you could do here. Kerrigan got him. It happens. This is just a set strat. Not a lot to look at from an individual perspective. That's just a team round. Just like this one. Another round here. They're setting up another strat. We know that because Donk is normally the guy that goes outside, and he's not outside. So they're going to set up another set strat here. And, here it comes. He's going to come out here. Now, I watched this round a couple of times earlier. And when I watched this round, I was a little confused. and I'll explain to you why. So let's rewind it 15 seconds. Let's get to the part where they're going out hut. Okay. So Donk's teammate gets killed from top hut. So Donk checks top hut, doesn't see him. He checks again, doesn't see him. So what does he do? Well, I'll tell you what. The most common thing is to path up the front of the site. Let me rewind it a little bit so I can show you without spoiling the round, okay? Hold on. Okay, the most common path to take is this path right here, where you come out the hut and you scale up this way. Look at what Magis is doing. This is the most common route to take. But the reason that is because when you come out this way, look it, you come this way and you don't ever get exposed to heaven. You never get exposed to heaven. But for some reason, Donk goes this way. Now, I don't know about you. Now, I'm not saying this might be an example of Donk not being the perfect player. But I feel like it's a little bit of a mistake to go this way. Now, I'm not the person that will call out a mistake. I'm asking, what do you think? Because he comes out the wrong way. Why this is just objectively not the correct way to go? Because there's another A player. He could be backside. He could be anywhere. Kerrigan's farming. We only see one guy, and you're going to take this route, which exposes you to heaven, exposes you to backside. Didn't even check it until right now. Could have been standing here the entire time. Could have been in heaven looking at him. He just takes a weird spot. He gets the backside, sure, but I don't know if this is a good play. I don't know. I'm genuinely not sure, and that's why normally in these demo reviews I'm pretty confident in the things I'm saying. This is the one time where I'm pretty sure he made a mistake, but I can't prove it because it just works. Like, they get in a winnable situation here. Like, I don't really know like what there is to say. I mean, he takes the space. I mean, sure, maybe they knew that there was nobody heaven, but he could have just died. Like he could have literally just died. I don't know what he knew to make that play is what I'm trying to say. And since I don't think he knew anything like out of the ordinary, I just feel like it's the wrong play, but it works. So I don't know. Regardless, he will go down to the nade from BROKE. The round will go the way of Faze, and that's that. Fantastic. I don't think that the round is single-handedly on Donk, but I will say I do genuinely think that he might have made a mistake. I think he might have made a mistake in his pathing. That's it. That's a very small thing to make a mistake on, in his pathing. Just opening that one up. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Anyway, another set outside smokes here. They got the top mini smoke, and well, I actually really like this one. This is the new 3 smoke wall that doesn't let you get spotted from outside on that cross there, and it also lets you slip in through the smoke here to go into mini. Really clever and also really smart. Now, of course, Faze has no info. Donk was outside. They're gonna go back into inner. Now, if we were on Faze's T side and Rain was doing this, I would 100% tell you they're going to end A. Donk is the same role that Rain is, so, well, they're going to end A. Now, I have also watched this game before, but I'm just going to tell you, they're going to end A. A exec is in yet again. There must be something that is weak on Faze that they know about, and they're just going to clean it up. Donk doesn't get any kills. Doesn't even matter. Clean round. He did everything he was supposed to do. Team player. He's just a team player. Again, now, the way that I was told, or the way that the community perception is that Donk is just a very aggressive player who just runs around and kills people. But I've played against players like that in my pugs. God, if I haven't played against players like that in my pugs. And those players would just try to creep up and get into mini, or they would like try to go for a weird play outside, or they would come in and start lurking ramp, or they would just be in like a top silo. But no, not Donk. Donk is in the right spots playing for the team. Seems like a lot of people don't really agree though, and they feel like he just runs around relying on his aim. I haven't seen Donk rely on his aim one time at all in any of the demos that I watched from him, so I don't know. Either way, another straightforward round. Donk is outside by himself, just like Rain would be, except this time he's going to come up, and well, what do we see? Nades get thrown. He looks, doesn't get spotted, and this is it. This is what I talked about. This is that A split that Faze wanted to call with Rain earlier. Remember, replay it in your head. When Rain came through the mini smoke and Donk killed him, this is the exact same strat that Faze ran, and now Donk's doing it. He is Rain, the same exact position, except Faze doesn't have a donk. Where is the person that was Mini that Donk was? Well, he doesn't exist. And because of that, Donk is going to come through Mini, catches the first, adjusts to the second. BROKE is in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know why BROKE's there, honestly. Gets the second kill. That's a 2K from Donk. And that's just part of the donk effect. I mean, seriously, think about it. The donk effect is the strat works because it's him. Think about it back. The strat didn't work, I should say, for Faze because Donk knew what was going to happen. On the flip side of things, the strat does work because Donk gets the kills. It's crazy. Again, though, this isn't the most exciting thing in the world. That's just a set strat. That's probably been run millions and millions and millions of times by Spirit, and it always works that way because Donk always gets his. But either way, it worked again. He got 2. Can't take that away from him. Again, we have another round. He's dropping smokes, getting everything. He's going to go outside. Not a lot of going on, except this is the last round that Faze win. Why? Well, because Faze has a player that is their version of a donk, which is Rops. I mean, this is an eco with Rops having a gun. Well, yeah. I mean, at a certain point, Rops is just gonna do Rops things. I mean, it's like donk. You know, you can't always stop the star players. He's just gonna win them the round. You know, every team has this player at the high level that will just randomly win you around. I mean, it's a 4K for Rops. Like that's a pretty big deal. Yeah, you know, that's why, again, Tier 1 Counter-Strike is at a level right now that's just insane. Everybody is individually nuts. 2 more rounds left in the game. Another standard round. Donk with a smoke and an HE. Now, that entire point of the HE is to catch somebody doing exactly what BROKE's doing. And, well, it did. And Donk hears them pushing up, spams the smoke. There it is again. This kid, if you watch his demos, he's always spamming people through smokes. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I know BROKE made a step, but seriously, we're spamming him through here? That's insane to me. BROKE literally didn't even do anything wrong. But regardless, that's what they do. They rely on Donk outside. He's just going to get those kills, and he's just dominating. He's actually just dominating. And off of that, what are they doing? Well, Zontix has walked out A. This is another thing about this team. This Team Spirit team is so scary. I know this is a donk review, but look at this. Off of the outside aggression, let me explain the macro. Off of the outside aggression, BROKE is not an outside player that's aggressive. If he's aggressive, it's because Rain is also an outside player, is helping him, which is close. So since one of the outside players is always the rotator for ramp most of the time, there's a big gap at A. And that means that these guys on A have to play extra safe because they know, well, most of the time, that if they need to rotate up to ramp, well, basically, what I'm saying is that they can't drop into the site because they need to be in the rafters, because if he drops off the site, he can't rotate to ramp. So that's why he's up here. Now, if we know that somebody's up in heaven, the chances are he's looking hut. And off of this distraction outside, Zontix actually just knows that he can just walk through the smoke because it's pretty likely that nobody's looking. And that's a crazy intuition play. I mean, look, again, Zontix, also another person who hasn't played on stages like this. Look at another, look, he just walks out, and because of what I said, he spots him out there, kill, another kill. That's nuts. And there it is. It's not even just Donk. It's everybody on this team is scary. And yeah, again, unfortunately for Rain, Donk is going to catch him clearing outside. He saw a pixel of him. I mean, look, if you're getting lurked on outside with full A site gone, you're not even doing anything except trying to save, that's just the Donk effect right there. There's not much else to say. That's literally just it. And the Zontix effect as well. Either way, Rops, he's gonna go down in the end. Final round of the game. Now, I don't know, I didn't mean to skip ahead there. Now, I don't know about you, but it seems to me like Spirit senses a weakness in Faze's A site. And I think that weakness is Kerrigan. So they're just gonna keep targeting it. Every round on T side, they're going out A. And here's another example of that. Let's play this round in slow motion so it gives me a little time to talk about it. This is an A rush. What's happening? Donk's gonna step out. He's gonna be trading Magics. Magics, look straight up. Because remember the round before that they went out A, Kerrigan killed him from top hut. This round, no different. Kerrigan, he's really good still, even though he gets joked, a lot of jokes thrown at him for being not as good as all the other players. He's still good. Gets his. What does Kerrigan do? Well, it's normal for an A player to get a kill and then drop into the place that you got the kill. So that way, you can continue pushing and like catch people off guard. Kerrigan drops off a hut, which is just all standard. It looks silly. It's standard play. Donk's tracking is really good. Kerrigan gets dealt with. Okay. 5v3 to a 4v3. But Kerrigan didn't do anything wrong. He just got traded. Donk, first kill. Steps out heaven. Now remember, on CT side, what did Donk do? Donk did exactly what Frozen's doing. He just peeks out of heaven because it's really hard to stop and it's really strong. Donk immediately after the kill looks to heaven because he knows that that's the play that a lot of players are making at the higher level. Immediately. Now look, he's not looking heaven over here. He's not looking backside. He's not even looking to his right. He is looking here. This is the spot where everybody's swinging out. This is no mistake. Boom. Another kill. That's a 2K on the A exec. Remember, it was a 5v3. So, steps out to his left. BROKE is swinging through the smoke to try to help his teammates. Unfortunately, it's too late because a man named Donk is on a heater. This is 3 kills that he's gotten and he's taken 2 steps out of the hut door. Did anybody on Faze make a mistake here? That's the question I want to ask you. And I want you to be genuine with me. Did anybody on Faze make a mistake here? I will tell you the answer. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but the answer is no. Nobody on Faze made a mistake. You could argue that Kerrigan dropping off a hut is the wrong play, except it's not, because look at where Zontix died. Kerrigan can die to Zontix before he died. Frozen killed him because he swung out of heaven. Kerrigan dropped because of this guy, but he's dead because Frozen swung out. Frozen was supposed to swing out. That's the play. Kerrigan dropped because that's the play. BROKE came through the smoke, the mini smoke, to help his teammates because that's the right play. None of the players on Faze made a mistake. And in the course of literally half a second, Donk gets 3 kills and they win the first map and go on to win the grand finals of IEM Katowice. And he goes on to post a 1.7 rating across the tournament. This is how he does it. I'll let the round continue to play out and I'll replay it at full speed so you can really just appreciate how this looked in real time, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So here it is. The person gets traded. Magix goes down. Kerrigan drops. Donk to just heaven, turns to the right, another 3 kills, and there's nothing you can even do. Nobody on Faze made a mistake. People are thinking, well, why would BROKE run through the smoke? No. Don't question why BROKE would run through the smoke. If you've ever watched any nuke, you know that that's what they do. If you question why Frozen swung, if you've ever watched any nuke, or even just the beginning of this demo review, you know that that's what they do. If you question why Kerrigan dropped off at the top of hut, I would like to reference one more round to cement the fact that I don't think that Kerrigan made a mistake. What is the round in question? The round in question, do you remember when I said I think Donk misplayed a round? Okay, so here's that exact round before. Now, let's look at what Kerrigan does this round. Instead of Donk, let's look at Kerrigan, okay? Let's look at Kerrigan. Okay, so Spirit called a rush. Now remember, Kerrigan in the last round, you might argue that he made a mistake by dropping top hut, but let's look at what Kerrigan does this round. Same thing. Kerrigan throws his lurk smoke to buy himself some room, kills Magix. Remember, this is the round I think Donk made a mistake. What does Kerrigan do? Well, he, instead of dropping off hut, he jumps off to the other side and catches this player off guard, because that's what you do. Look, this is Kerrigan we're talking about. Somebody that people will never ever give credit for being a good fragger. And look, Kerrigan gets 2 and he stays alive. This is the right play. This is a by the book A-site play. So in the last round of the game, when Kerrigan does this and drops right into Donk's crosshair, is it a mistake? No. It's not a mistake. And all that's to say, Donk is him. He's genuinely him. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this demo review. I hope you guys learned a lot. There is a lot to learn from Donk. I would be down to cover more demos in the future from him. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. You guys know I do love to do demo reviews. They're some of my favorite content to make on the channel. And yeah, I felt like this one was pretty insightful. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit about CT Nuke. And yeah, so that's going to be it for me. If you guys did enjoy the video, I'd appreciate if you guys dropped a subscribe on the channel or like the video, share with your friends who are donk haters. And I'd appreciate if you check out this video that YouTube thinks that you'll enjoy. I'm sure you will. Go look at it.